Yo, what is up, guys? It is Archimedes Aizen here, back at it again with part 2 of What If Naruto Had Sasuke's Eyes. Now, pretty much, I'm gonna be linking DankGod in the description for making this beautiful thumbnail, as Gordon Ramsay would say, even though Gordon Ramsay does not make good thumbnails. I did not mean to say it like that, but basically, we left off after the land of the waves. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot of what ifs. Like, don't tell anyone this, but I'm doing a feature with Six Meister. Yeah. It's gonna be great. So yeah, without further ado, guys, let's get straight into this. What if? Or resume. Just never mind. Roll the intro. I don't actually have one. Yeah, never mind. You actually thought. But basically, let's get into it. Now, after Team 7 would have pretty much came back from liberating the land of the waves from its leader, Gato, they would have went back to their respected homes and they would have rested for the night. Now, the next night, Team 7 would have met up in the same training ground, just like they've been meeting up for the past month in training and other stuff like that. Now, Kakashi would start to explain to them that they'll be doing some heavy training for the next 2 weeks. Just no resting, nothing. It's just gonna be really painful training. Now, pretty much it would be pretty hard training. It's gonna be some guy type training. So 1,000 handstands on your fingers around the village. You know what I mean? 1,000 times around the village on your, doing handstands on your fingers, kind of like that. So pretty much for the next 2 weeks, Team 7 would get put through training, the guy type of training. They would go through swordsmanship training, taijutsu training, a lot of physical enhancement training, and pretty much they would have had a glow up. No lie, it would have been the best glow up ever. Be better than Ichigo going into DankGod and training for 3 months. Even better than that. Even though I'm a Bleach Shard, it's hard for me to say that, but I'm saying it right now. So just think of them. They're all gonna be OP. Naruto's gonna have limbo clones and shit. He's gonna be able to teleport and do the OP abilities. I'm turning into Xehther, okay? Nobody's gonna stop Naruto in this series. No, I'm just kidding. And pretty much Sakura is gonna learn more of her elemental jutsus, how to infuse water elements, fire elements into weapons like kunais, swords, which also due to her starting to take up swordsmanship, just like the rest of the team. Sasuke is doing it, and Naruto is doing it. Naruto's already mastered swordsmanship in the basics levels, maybe intermediate levels, but basically after the 2 weeks of training, they would have been exhausted, and they just finished eating at Ichiraku Ramen. Now, they would be walking around the village, just taking a good look at the sunset that was appearing on the horizon. Now, they would pretty much see Konohamaru getting lifted up by his scarf by what it looks like to be a sand ninja trio. And he remembered, or Team 7 remembered, from Kakashi's explanation of the Chunin exams, that they're pretty much, the Sand Village and the Sound Village are pretty much coming over to the Hidden Leaf to participate in the Chunin exams. So they weren't thinking the sand invaded or anything, but I guess Konohamaru must have bumped into them or something like that. So Naruto would appear kind of behind Konohamaru, but still a little bit further away from Kankuro, and he would start to be civil. But then Kankuro was kind of pissed, some little brats bumped into him, and he is literally the son of the Izukage. I don't know, he had some pride, so I'm just trying to speak it from his perspective, of course. So Naruto, seeing that he can't really be civil with him, would grab him by the arm and twist it behind his back, and he would just pretty much pop his arm out of place. Kankuro would start screaming out of pain, his arm had just been popped out of place, so it's definitely gonna hurt. So after this would happen, Gaara from the tree would be seeing Naruto and thinking, this guy has no chill. He can see Naruto's quite strong, and he likes that. Who doesn't like strong people? So basically, Gaara would come down. He would start to output his killer intent, and Naruto would output his own killer intent, kind of like the Conqueror Haki clash thing happening here. And they would have their own stare down for about 20 seconds until Gaara would ask them for their names. He would look just at Naruto and Sasuke and would ask them for their names. Sakura, I'm sorry, you're just not strong enough. They didn't assassinate an S-rank ninja. I'm joking. Naruto didn't do that, but he still helped in the defeat of Zabuza. So basically, Naruto would say, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and Sasuke would say that he's Sasuke Uchiha. Now, pretty much Gaara would tell Kankuro to basically leave the kid alone or he's gonna kill him. And the siblings like Temari and Kankuro would feel the killer intent coming from Gaara. And they're not like Naruto. They can't handle this. So they would Kankuro let go of Konohamaru and they would head on their way. Team 7 would head back to their homes and Naruto would sleep for the rest of the night. Now the next day he would get up and kind of put on the same outfit or arc Sasuke has. I don't know, I just like the outfit, it just seems pretty cool. So he would get his sword, put it into his sheath, and he would head out. Now he would meet up with Team 7 or Sasuke and Sakura after basically walking to their houses and picking them up, and then they would head towards the academy where the Chunin exams will be taking place. Now once they would get there, they would meet up with the Kakashi for a few minutes, and Kakashi would tell them about teamwork and kind of give them a few motivational words before they would head on their own as a team. So once they would walk in, they would start to look around, observing everyone, seeing their chakra levels, seeing what they can do, seeing their potential, all the small little details that you need to be participating in the Chunin exams, or people who are at least smart and think logically, of course. So Naruto would start to narrow his eyes down to Lee, the same team they met with earlier, the Sand Village team, Gaara, Kankuro, and Temari. Then he would narrow his eyes on Kabuto. Now Kabuto didn't look like a strong one, but for some reason Naruto could sense maybe high Jonin, low Kage amount of chakra from Kabuto. Now I know Kabuto isn't Kage level at this strength. I just want to make it seem like his chakra pools are very strong, but he himself with his jutsus, he's not that strong yet. I'm just talking about his chakra, since he experimented himself a lot of times before the time skip. So Team 7, they would walk by and they would see these two the gate guard ninjas basically messing around this kid, like not letting him inside. And Naruto, his Rinnegan would start like giving him like a spidey sense thing, like my senses are tingling. It's not like that, but basically he would see like a mirage. He would see like the number on the side of the door that's basically showing where they're supposed to be, but it's covered by genjutsu. So he would throw up a few hand signs, not any gang signs, no crip blood, no, that ain't happening. I don't think I'm allowed to name any gangs in the YouTube video. Well, let's see if YouTube likes it. Never mind. But basically, they would put up a few hand signs, and over the 2-week time skip and the 1-month time skip between the bell test and the Land of the Waves, they would learn Anbu hand styles. So nobody else can see what they're doing unless they were in the Anbu themselves or they were taught by an Anbu sensei. And in the whole Leaf Village, there was no Anbu sensei except Kakashi. Maybe you can name other people like Yamato, but for now it was only Kakashi out of the Konoha 12. So they would throw up a few hand signs. Like I said, no gang hand signs. And this would basically mean genjutsu. There's a genjutsu by that door with the 2 gate guards. Now, Sasuke and Sakura, they would interpret this, and they would pretty much just like walk over to the door, and they would output their chakra. Like Naruto would put like a protective barrier of chakra or a zone of it around Sakura and Sasuke, and basically they would see the gate guards would completely disappear. Turns out the guards even being there was a genjutsu. So they would walk in, calmly open the door, and everyone would be quite flabbergasted. Like they were still in the genjutsu, so all they saw was Naruto and the rest of Team 7 just casually walking in. So once Team 7 would get in, Kabuto would still have that same conversation about them, or with them, about showing them the ninja cards, showing Lee, showing Gaara, and then showing Orochimaru, and showing how many missions they did, their senseis, about how Gaara didn't even get nicked, or like didn't even get a single scratch on his clothes when doing these B rank and A rank missions. So it would have been like quite a conversation they had. But of course Naruto is on guard, since no genin who basically failed the Chunin exam 7 times can actually have Jonin to Kage amount of chakra. It just didn't seem right. So Team 7 would sit down in their individual seats, of course, and they already figured out a way to cheat. Somehow Naruto figured out that basically that Chunin exams was going to be a test, and that they were actually supposed to cheat. So they spent that time learning how to cheat in that same exam, and goes to show how smart Naruto is in this what if. So basically they would sit down, act all casual, and with Ibiki would start to kind of look intimidating, and have the gate guards hand out their assignments, not the assignments, the test of course, and the team 7 would do the test. They would completely ace it. It's not hard. They studied for this. They know these type of easy questions. So the EBQ would announce the 10th question after everyone basically done their the 9 questions of the test. Then he would start to say that, hey, if you get this question wrong, you're basically eliminated from the tuning exams for the rest of your life. But then he would add a but to it. He would say, if you do leave right now, you could actually maybe get a better proctor next year. So who knows, you might get have a better chance of becoming tuning. But it's your call. So they would then have that same filler roll up, and then right before like a flashback, I guess you can say, for Team 7 would stay, and all the other fodder teammates that aren't even side characters in the show would basically leave. Now, pretty much, EBQ would announce after everyone left. He would start to announce that there was actually no 10th question and that they all passed. And then saying that this was a test of determination, since if they're going to be tuning and they get a mission for going after S-rank criminals, they're not going to run away just because they might die. That's not the purpose. You're ninja. You're not supposed to do that. It just doesn't work like that. So pretty much Anko would come through the door, the window, after she just ate her dango. I don't know why she likes dango. It is what it is, though. And she would start to explain, so you meet them at training ground 44, or aka the Forest of Death. Now everyone would head towards the Forest of Death, basically kind of pumped that they've gotten this far in the Chunin exams. So once they would get there, Anko would start to explain what would be happening. She would explain that, hey, this is the Forest of Death. There's many animals, snakes, very venomous snakes, bears, wolves, any deadly animal you can think of. And all the food in there is poisoned. So, or at least most of it. You just have to figure it out, of course. So, and then she would explain that all the teams will be getting a Heaven and Earth scroll. So, you will be given one of these, and then you just have to get to the other one and head towards the tower in the middle of the forest. That's pretty easy, right? One but, you can kill each other. And there'd be a little dead silence, everyone realizing that they could kill each other. All the people that are quite bloodlusted would be happy they can finally slit someone's throat, and it wouldn't be against the rules. So basically Anko would hand out all the waiver forms, so if anyone did die in the Force of Death, it would not be the Konoha's fault. They did sign it. After that, they were on their own. So pretty much Team 7 would sign it. They had no problem with it. Naruto was extremely confident in basically winning this portion of the test. Then pretty much Anko would see this really confident look on Naruto, and just testing out the new blood, or the new genin. People, I usually like to say new blood. A lot of people use that term. It just means someone who's new to the job, or new to a position, or something like that. She would throw a kunai at him. Now, what would happen is, why did I say what would happen twice? So Naruto would use his Rinnegan to basically swap places with the kunai and Anko. Then he would grab her by the face and just throw her into a tree. He just basically is outputting his power in general. You think that kunai is actually gonna do anything? I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I have the Rinne Sharingan and the EMS Sharingan. I have Indra's and Ashura's chakra. I have the 9-tailed beast. And you think a kunai can actually stop me? He's not actually saying this, but I'm just doing some monologue, I guess you can say, in a sense. So after Anko would get up, she would tell everyone, go. And pretty much in this time, when everyone was signing their waivers, Naruto would have gotten a good look at every team that had the opposite scroll to them, which was the Heaven Scroll. So he would have seen a fodder team holding that heaven scroll, and he would have placed like a kunai in it, something he can switch places with it later. So they would have gotten about maybe 100 meters in. He would then tell everyone to stop, or tell anyone his team to stop, and he would tell them to hold on to his shoulder. Now at first they would be a little confused, but Naruto would insist with a little evil smile, telling them that they could pass in about 5 minutes if they do this right. Then Naruto would start the stopwatch timer on his wrist, like start it, and then they would hold onto his shoulder. They would switch places. They would appear in front of the team. Naruto would drop kick one through the face. Like, this guy's head is just not looking pretty right now. He just got a haircut. I don't know why I'm making these jokes, but basically Naruto would drop kick this one person in the middle, kind of like their own leader of that fodder team. He would go like really smashing the floor. He ate that dirt for dinner. He was full after that. Sakura would pretty much appear get her katana and pretty much hit the back of their head with the hilts, infusing it with chakra, basically like sending them flying into a tree. Sasuke would appear, they do a lion's barrage on the other, kind of like kicking up further and then pretty much drop kicking him into the floor. Just the same technique Naruto used, just a little more advanced, or a little more, takes more moves in a sense. So after they pretty much took out the team, Naruto would reach into the pouch, grab the heaven scroll, put it into his pouch or his pocket, jacket pocket, whatever you want to think of, and they would pretty much head towards the tower. Now once they would get there, they would not fight with Orochimaru, but Orochimaru would be watching from afar. He would see Naruto having the Rinnegan, and he would get pretty greedy. The thing is, he has tried that experiment where he mixed Hashirama cells and Madara cells, and it just didn't work. He never got the Rinnegan. But this boy has the Rinnegan with Tomoe's, and he has a more evolved version of Itachi's Sharingan, the Mangekyo. Seems to have like a double Mangekyo in a sense. And he realized from deciphering some of the tablets, he realized if you take one of your clansmen's eyes and you basically mix them with your own, when you become blind, you could get a permanent version of the Mangekyo where you can never go blind. Orochimaru was basically licking his lips, knowing that one day he might take these eyes and he would be the strongest shinobi. Damn, bro. He would be the strongest shinobi in the world at that point, since the Otsutsuki's weren't really introduced, nor was Madara. So pretty much Team 7 would head towards the tower, and that would have been the end of the Forest of Death. Now once they would get to the tower, they would open the scroll at the same time, and Kakashi would appear. Now Kakashi would be quite surprised. It had only been 10 minutes, and maybe he thought they accidentally opened it when they only had one, but he'd seen them. They had 2 scrolls. So he'd been quite impressed with them, and he would have congratulated them before they would head inside. Now for the next 5 days, Team 7 would be resting and gathering the chakra, just getting anything necessary for what they're about to do next, because they don't know what they're about to do next, so they have to be as prepared as possible. So what would happen is on the day of the preliminary rounds, Hiruzen would call everyone down to the arena and start to explain to them what they'll be doing. And he would show them the board. All the fights would be randomized. Be Naruto versus Kiba. Just all the placements are the same. Kabuto would forfeit himself after realizing that his part of the mission is finished. He didn't get to meet with Naruto. He didn't get to see their power. Nothing. So his mission is pretty much failed. So he would forfeit, and the preliminary rounds would start. Sasuke versus Iroi. This would go way differently. Number one, he has a Sharingan, but the outcome's still the same. Sasuke wins, no diff. Now, the next fight would then be Shikamaru versus Kin. Now, that fight would pretty much go the same, like mid to high diff, I guess you can say. Like, Shikamaru still won with his intelligence. The next fight would then be Naruto versus Kiba. Now this fight would go completely different, which is why I'm gonna go in depth here. So the fight would start after Kiba would jump down, and Naruto would just use a body flicker and easily get down, showing off his pretty much near immeasurable speed, as they thought, even though no one in Naruto has immeasurable speed. So Naruto would get down, get a sword, and by the way, that sword would kind of have a similar image to like Sasuke, like Boruto Sasuke sword, you know, that drippy sword. It's probably the only good sword in the whole anime. Never mind the seven swordsmen, but basically Naruto would unsheath his sword and he would get ready to fight. Now Kiba would start to get shivers, like Naruto just like did like put lightning into his sword. Like this guy was ready to fight, like he had no chill at all. So Kiba would gain all the confidence he had, the little confidence he had. He would try to muster up all the strength to even do a technique. So Akamaru would be whimpering, but he would, with Kiba's order to basically do their man beast transformation, he would make a clone, and they would kind of do like a triple man beast, like, you know, fang over fang on Naruto. Naruto, looking at this, would not even be even fazed by this. He would pretty much use, he would put his hands up and do almighty push. Now, what would happen is some random gravitational push would affect Kiba, and he would be sent through maybe 10 buildings to the right. Just, he would be sent through buildings at that point. There's like a huge, so how that tower would work, there'd be about hundreds of buildings in there, and they were in the middle. So Kiba, let's say Kiba had a rough roller coaster there. So, Rebozo, I guess it was too deadly for him. I'm just kidding. But basically, Naruto would have just destroyed him. It would have been no diff. He had no difficulty doing it. So after that fight, then Lee versus Gaara fight would go exactly the same. Neji versus Hinata would go the same, but Naruto would have interfered instead. He can easily switch places with Neji, and then basically the proctors would have called the match easily. And pretty much after that, Hiruzen would have explained to everyone what they'll be doing, that, you know, like what's going on in the Chunin exam, since there was too many people to actually, you know, say like who passed or not. So he would start to explain that in about a month, in exactly a month, they'll be meeting at a certain arena by the Hokage's tower that everyone's always seemed to like. That place was a beautiful place, and everyone now can, you know, see the fight there. So in about a month, they'll be doing the finale of the Chunin exams, and that everyone should prepare accordingly. He would then dismiss everyone, and they would head out of this forest. Now, pretty much, Naruto would spend the next week training, and he didn't really have much to train on. He didn't have any idea what the Rinnegan could do, you know, what potential he could unlock. So he was kind of bored. He realized he can easily pass, and he was just training his Susanoo in general. So pretty much he would head towards Sasuke. Sasuke has the same eyes, so if you could get Sasuke to get it even stronger, he didn't know what was after that, since he literally got the EMS and Runner Sharingan from the start. So he was curious, what's after the 3 Tomoe but before my eyes? So what would happen is he would literally put Sasuke in an infinite Tsukiyomi, like kind of like an infinite Tsukiyomi, but like an actual Tsukiyomi. It's not no dreaming, like he's doing it for like Sasuke literally went through Genjutsu for about like maybe years of just like his life at his worst, I guess. It's just mental trauma at that point. So Sasuke, I'm kind of do a little plot twist here. Okay, if you guys have a problem with it, just say in the comments, I don't care. But what would happen is Sasuke would unlock the Mangekyo, and you guys are like, you guys are probably punching air, throwing your laptops, whatever you're using to watch this video. You'd be like, what the fuck? Why is Sasuke getting the Mangekyo Sharingan? It's not even Shippuden yet. I don't really care. You know, we have to balance out everything. Naruto is OP. We have to make everyone else strong in their own way. So pretty much Sasuke would get the Mangekyo, but he would have to recover due to all that mental trauma. He literally got put in Genjutsu for like years, not hundreds of years, decades, almost a century at that point. So he had to recover from that for about a week. So pretty much Naruto would meet up with Jiraiya, and Jiraiya would start to teach him abilities that Nagato used, how to summon the animals, how to use Almighty Push, Almighty Pull, just mastering it, how to absorb chakra. I'm trying to think here, how to use Chibaku Tensei, or the planetary devastation, how to make basically meteors come from the sky, other techniques like that. And pretty much what would happen is Naruto would learn all these techniques in the next week. It'll be pretty easy for him to learn those techniques. And pretty much after this week, Naruto would be kind of chilling one day, and he realized he's gonna fight Neji, so he has to figure out how to defeat him, what's his backstory. So he would go visit Hinata in the hospital. So pretty much Hinata and Naruto would have that same conversation where Hinata tells him what happened in Hyuga clan and why, like explain to them the politics in the Hyuga clan, I guess, like the side branch, the main branch, and that's just it. So Naruto would know how to get into Neji's skin and how to win in general. So after Naruto would head out of the hospital, he would go and spend the next week just straight up training. And once he would pretty much do all this training, it would be the day of the the Chunin exams finale. He spent so much time training. Sasuke was training his Mangekyo, but Naruto would warn him that he might go blind by doing it. So you shouldn't use it that often. Try using third Tomoe until you can find a clan member you could switch eyes with. And pretty much Sasuke would have planned that he was going to switch eyes with Itachi, or after killing him, of course. So Sakura, if you're wondering, what did Sakura learn? She would have learned like really genjutsu, like for example genjutsu where you literally trapped on a pole, like Tsukiyomi, but in a lava plane or a freezing plane. Other genjutsus like that by Kurenai herself. The other jutsu she would learn is like the same jutsu Kabuto used in the like Jiraiya Tsunade versus Orochimaru in that fight, where he basically shut off points to his organs and other body parts like that. It was pretty OP jutsu, and Sakura would have learned it from the people at the hospital. It's not too hard. She got the first steps from them, and then she learned it on her own. Also books from Tsunade, like Tsunade published, not herself, but like kind of jutsus for medical nin, since like it was kind of like an inspiration, like basically girls had an inspiration from Tsunade in a sense. So Sakura would have learned it and would have infused it to her sword. So once Team 7 would have head over to the arena, basically the proctor would have started the match between Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto and Neji. And by the way, Sasuke is not late this time, since Naruto is literally right next to him. How can he be late? So basically what would happen is Naruto would be on the field and they would be, ready to fight. So what would happen is Naruto would start clashing the sword to hand with Neji, and he would have been at a great disadvantage to any weapons, like any person who makes weapons. I forgot what it's called. A blacksmith. Any blacksmiths would think that if you're a Hyuga fighting against a sword, you would have a disadvantage, but it's not really true. Neji was holding his own, and Naruto didn't even have the Sharingan awakened or activated at that point. So basically what happened is Neji would start talking shit, and he would have gotten mad. Naruto would have gotten mad, and Naruto knows Neji's past, so he pretends to look mad and all irritated so he can make Neji feel satisfied. So Neji would have put down his guard, and Naruto automatically would open his right eye, and he would use Amaterasu on Neji, and Neji would pretty much start to use his Katen, and pretty much what would happen, it would make contact with his Katen, the rotation jutsu, the palm rotation jutsu, and pretty much a huge ass explosion would happen. Now after this explosion would pretty much disappear, the smoke would disappear. That'll be where I'm actually ending this part of what if Naruto had Sasuke's eyes. You actually thought I was gonna do that arc? Fucking bozo. Nah, I'm just kidding. But basically, I'll be doing the other part tomorrow. That'll probably be like third part, and then fourth part should be the finale, or the third part should be the finale. Who knows? Just depending how the story will go. But without further ado, guys, I'm gonna head out now. Have a good night or day, whatever time you're in. But bye.